we will talk about the story of atoms and molecules today. So, here you can see an iron nail and some iron powder. So, for thousands of years, people bothered about what is exactly inside this nail or the last particle of this iron powder. What would it look like from inside? What is it made of? So, after very careful work, eventually it was discovered that there are very tiny particles inside. So particles of iron which make up this powder or this nail are called atoms, and these are atoms of iron. So suppose we show here these clips, blue clips, they are representing iron atoms. So millions and billions and trillions of such atoms are actually inside each particle of this iron nail or iron powder. And the thing is, important part is that even if we take this powder and break it up into finer and finer pieces, in every piece, because all the atoms are same, we will always find the smaller part will also have the same kind of atoms, and there is no way we can change iron into anything else because the atoms are all same. But what is important to realize is, are all atoms in the world exactly the same? No. Iron had one kind of atoms, and now we are looking at another kind of atoms. This time we are showing it with red pins, and this is suppose oxygen atoms. Yes, the same oxygen which we use for breathing. So these are oxygen atoms which are present in air, but in air they are joined together in groups of two, pairs of two, and they are actually tightly bonded together, and that's why they make O2 gas. Oxygen gas is written as O2. So this is how this is present in atmosphere, and they also make another kind of gas when three oxygen atoms join with each other, and we call this ozone, O3. Then three of them join together. But the important thing is that whether they are present as single or 2 at a time or joined together as 3, all of this will be oxygen to the last particle, and such things which are the purest form, from which no other substance can be taken out, which cannot be changed into any other substance, we call them elements. So oxygen is an element. The way we saw iron as an element, similarly there are other elements. This time we are using white pins to show hydrogen. So hydrogen is another gas which is present as H2, which means two atoms of hydrogen generally join together, and when the atoms join together they make a molecule. More than one atom make a molecule. So we are seeing hydrogen molecules here along with atoms. So hydrogen is yet another element. Element are those basic substances which combine and make everything else in the world. So what happens if two hydrogen and one oxygen join together? This molecule do not have the same kind of atoms. When it is H2O, what we get is water. Yes, our ordinary water is made out of these two things, hydrogen and oxygen, but at the atomic level, or let's say at the molecular level. The important thing to realize is that every single component of water, the last molecule of water, anywhere, whether in clouds or ice or North Pole or South Pole or any sea or river or lake, will always have the same composition: two hydrogens, one oxygen. And when more than one atom, more than one type of atom join together, they make a compound. So water is a compound. So when a compound cannot have a different composition like one oxygen and one hydrogen, but it will always have the same composition: two hydrogen, one oxygen. And this is present inside water, but we cannot see. These two gases are joining inside together, but we can't see them. But suppose we were able to break these bonds, break these atoms apart, then we should be able to see hydrogen and oxygen gases from water. Can we see them? Yes. If we separate in some way, which is not easy, we'll have to find some way to separate them, then we should be able to see the hydrogen gas and the oxygen gas. This is what we are going to do just now. What we will do is take ordinary water and put a little salt into it so that the water is able to transmit electricity. Electricity is able to pass through water, and then what we will see is water breaking up into its components. So here we are taking an ordinary 9-volt battery, and when we dip the battery inside, a current will flow from battery's positive terminal to negative terminal, and then we will see what happens. So here we have dipped the battery inside, and immediately something starts happening at the battery terminals, and we can clearly see bubbles emerging out of it, and these are bubbles of gas. And actually we are seeing more bubbles on the negative terminal where hydrogen is coming out, because it's coming out much faster than oxygen gas, which is coming at the positive terminal. So we are seeing water breaking up into its two components, hydrogen gas and oxygen gas, because water is a compound made out of these two elements. So compounds are made out of different elements together. Though a compound looks completely different and behaves completely differently from its constituent elements, its properties change completely when atoms join together to make molecules of a compound. So we saw elements which are roughly 100 in nature, and we saw that their atoms join up together and make compounds. Now we will see something else. So in our world, everything around us is made out of combinations of some elements, some compounds, and put together. So here suppose we have water. So when we have water, we have molecules of large number of molecules of water present inside. So here we are seeing actual water, and we are seeing salt kept nearby, which is actually sodium chloride or NaCl. So the green pins are showing sodium, which is called Na because of another name natrium, and we are seeing chlorine gas Cl, and the salt is NaCl, which means one sodium Na and one Cl chlorine are joined together to make salt. So this is a salt molecule. So we have some salt molecules here. This is what they are like from inside, and then we have water molecules. So suppose I take some salt and mix it with water, and I shake, and it gets dissolved in water. So the salt is simply sitting inside water. So inside it is just the two things are simply mixing together and sitting inside. They are not joining the way atoms join to make molecules. They are simply kept with each other, mixed with each other, and such things are called mixtures. So this is a mixture, and in a mixture it doesn't matter if I put more salt or less salt. If I want, I can put more. So let me put a little more salt also in this water. So then the composition of the mixture changes. Even the steel spoon here is actually a mixture which has steel, carbon, and some other metals inside. So steel itself is a mixture. A lot of things around us are mixtures, which are actually mixtures of elements or mixtures of elements and compounds. So our world is made up of these three things, either elements or compounds or mixtures.